This is Nicholas Barres. I'm the second VP. Haven't seen y'all in a while, but I'll see you guys this summer. I was in January. I asked y'all for if it was okay if I explored some conference apps with Virginia and Tom. This is reporting back, having vetted a couple of options. I finally found one that we think would work best. Other board members have good experience with it, so we'd like to bring it and present it to y'all for consideration for the 2019 fall conference. So this video is going to cover a lot of the pain points. Many of you have experienced conference apps, but I wanted to discuss many of the pain points coming from the user experience, participant experience, and the us, CoTESOL board administrators, those of us who are not administrators, but volunteer administrators who put the show on for TESOL in Colorado. So let's look at this. The main points I'm going to cover in this video are session description, which we'll discuss the pain points of room capacity. We had some overcrowding issues last year. We'll also talk about sharing slide decks. This app will make it easier for presenters to upload their PowerPoints. Feedback, there's survey feedback. It's not great, but combined with our current practices, we're going to have more than enough data to make informed decisions. Feedback and session surveys, go over that a little bit further. Stakeholder communications, we can email people through this app very easily and communicate to certain stakeholder populations, like only presenters, only attendees. And I'll go over that in a section of this video. The other one, a real quick bonus ad for this, is printing super low cost signage. Through this app, it provides us good looking PDFs and .pngs and we can also print room schedules, and we could create additional venue signage at a fairly low cost, just printing cost paper, that sort of thing. So, and then I'll also touch upon ads for sponsors, contributors, and vendors. There's opportunity here for us to shift some of that revenue out of the program booklet and into this, and then think also creatively and sustainably around other ways of creating revenue if we do decide and see a great benefit in adopting one of these apps down the road. So let's jump into it. Hello everyone, so let's go over session fields, because we're going to hit a few pain points that we've had in the past. By using this, we can address those pain points. So the session fields kind of go, in the same vein that, and we don't need to change processes of proposal fields and session information fields. Everything we already do should work with this. So they ask for a title field, names of speakers, time, venue being room, type. For the most part, we only have really like one type, but we could talk about types there. I'm sure I'm just not thinking deeply enough on it. Attendee capacity. So that's where we really get a sense for, this is the one where we can figure out if we need to move rooms and move different sessions to different rooms. Last year we had several problems with that, where Agnes just blew the roof off one room, and the residual heat in that room was a nightmare for the remainder of that morning for the following session speakers and attendees. Another case was Dieter, and I'm forgetting his name, from Nebraska, but that room was overcrowded as well. With this feature, we would have a sense, so long as attendees are using it and actually inputting like a schedule or a calendar, and going through and like making a personal schedule and calendar for the event. This would give us a sense. We could then move rooms, notify everybody through the messaging system, and address that pain point that we've had. The descriptions stay the same. Another pain point that this addresses is uploading files. We don't need to, we can decentralize the work of uploading and offering PowerPoints and presentational materials to attendees. It used to go funnel through Larry, and now we can actually put the onus on the presenters, or us as well. We could email people if, say, like after a certain date, people hadn't uploaded. We could email and get them to send it to us and do it for them. But this material, they're able to upload their PowerPoints like days before, weeks before the event occurs. So that's a huge one. We constantly get emails. You can ask Tom. If you see Larry, you can ask him around. I wanted a PowerPoint from 2016 and I never got it. So another huge pain point addressed by adopting this tool and using this schedule app. But this whole process of creating sessions seems to fit our current processes, but with these added bonus points of attendee capacity, uploading PowerPoints through the upload file. And then feedback. Let's jump on that. So there's a feedback. What did you think? And this prompts 5 minutes before the session starts and lasts for a while. I asked about customizing this, and we can customize the prompt here, the comment. We'd love if you would elaborate. We can customize that one. We can't add fields and we can't change these, but these are fairly universal. I hope everybody everywhere smiling means happy. So this is like the feedback piece that we're missing on top of the other data points that David collected last year on the numbers. We could begin to really next year really zone in and focus on certain presenters who we know are high value and get excellent reviews, and put an ask out to them early as soon as our call for proposals goes out, saying like, hey, do you have anything new you'd like to come and talk about, and go from there. So 3 to 4 pain points of the past addressed with this single feature of Sched. So going back to, I briefly talked about it in the session on the event descriptions or the session descriptions, but I wanted to touch again on feedback. This is a piece we've been missing. I wouldn't say that we need to stop sending the survey that we already do. I think we need to continue to send that one because it collects a lot of in-depth qualitative data. Whereas this, it does collect a bit of qualitative data in the commenting and that, but from the ease of access, this becomes very quantitative in that we can draw quick, high-level. Okay, this session went well. Ooh, that one didn't go well. We shouldn't. Let's do a little bit more digging on why that didn't go well, and if it leads to the reason we shouldn't ask that speaker back, then that's how. Or opposite of that scenario. So collecting feedback using Sched session feedback. This is the main way. 3 different Likert scale of happy, meh, and kind of that one's a bummer. And this is kind of what it looks like. You can prompt, attendees will receive an email reminder to view their experience at 5 p.m. each day of the event. So they'll receive they'll gain access to the ability to rate it before the session starts, like 5 or 6 minutes before the session starts. But then they receive at 5 p.m. another notification, so another ping saying like, hey, check this out. Disable feedback to all sessions. You can disable this feature and then customize that feedback prompt through here. This web page that I'm showing you guys, I will include in the guide that I'll send along with this video and in the email. So another huge, this data collected with the survey data we already send and the head counts that'll be a little more clear with the data we can pull from Sched and who added sessions to their schedule on top of the head count. All of that will bring so much potential to act upon in the following year. So maybe doing a little bit, going further with our data analysis in the January CoTESOL meeting and really going over the potential for how to use that data and what the conference really felt like from data standpoint. Yeah. So if we want to message certain populations of the conference or convention, we simply go to this page as one of the admins when the event is occurring, and we click on send message directly to attendees, send message to speakers, send message to sponsors, everybody, attendees without schedule, attendees in the session, attendees with the tag. So there's options to send messages. Most of these messages will go out as emails directly to the email associated with their registration, or whatever email we import when we bring over attendees from Reg Online, or however we end up doing the attendee process. So messaging is fairly simple. This is kind of a breakdown, and I'll send this link is found in the document I shared with you all, but it discusses messaging as far as roles, status by session, and individual participants. As far as the rep said this week, she said that attendees cannot message each other, but we as administrators or conference administrators can send messages to attendees. So that's kind of the internal communication. So when rooms are full, or we need to switch rooms, or we need to cancel a session, we send a message out through these messages, through this messaging service as a solution to that issue, to that pain point. Another great feature that we would obtain the ability to do through this app is print venue signs for the day, and by room. So through the website, or through our event portal, we are able to print venue signs, big signs, also door signs per room. So that could also accelerate that process for us and take care of creating those, or using, copying content over. Sometimes we make human errors. Maybe, the computer would help us out in that effort. It might also provide some additional sign, and you don't pay per sign or anything here. It might produce some additional signage that we could use in other points of the conference, or in our conference space. So great add-on. I'll send this link along to you as well in the guide document. So one of the main challenges to adopting this app is the shift away from the explicitly and kind of like just implicitly, the shift away from the program booklet. We currently have revenue coming from the full page ads, contributor sponsors, vendors taking out and paying us to put their ads in our program booklet. I believe Tom has that number, and we'll present on that later, so we have to keep that number in mind. This isn't, to me, it's a challenge. It's not a deficit. There are documented ways of generating that revenue in other fashions. And through this app, it provides a few ways for us to do that. I think this is where it gets fun and there becomes opportunity for us to do new things, connect our participants in meaningful ways to our contributors, our sponsors, our vendors. And I'm excited about that, and trying to figure that out down the road. As individuals, as our participants begin to use the app, they shift away from the booklet, they don't open it. The return on investment for people who pay for program booklet ads isn't going to be as high. So there's a lot of different ways we can approach that. But one of the things that Sched can do for us to help us with that is we have sponsor branding, sponsor directories in the app, so participants can go to a sponsor directory and look through the sponsors. We also have the web header, so let's start kind of moving through that. This is what the sponsor directory looks like, so people can click on it, get more information, and go from there. The web header, the header for all of ours would be like CoTESOL, and we could sell space similar to this space right here. We could sell space to some maybe some of the bigger contributors, and make up some of that revenue loss, or maybe first time out of the gate, do the booklet and this app, depending on if we can get costs for printing down a little bit, and make some additional revenue selling sponsor header space and contributor program, or tie it in. That's something for the board to vote on and figure out. Mobile header, embedded versions. So there's also all of these things up here are opportunities on the web portal for us to plug in and have vendors pay us for logo space down here as well. So there's space for us to add vendor names to this. And at the same time, this is an easy thing. It might open the door for us to increase that revenue through adding people or making it easier. Vendors may feel at a higher, more. This may place them where they feel like they're going to get more views than the program booklet does. So it might be higher value. I think these are all things we should look into, feel out, and test in our pilot, get feedback on. We can also do email announcements and control, have contributors pay for emails during the event. The emails would come from us. They would send us the content so that we're not giving out our participant emails or contact information. And during the event, we could send out emails around their products and come to talk to them, and we could put a price on that as well. A couple of different opportunities to shift that revenue source out of the program booklet and into Sched. And then I think there's some other things I have ideas around that we could generate that revenue source, and maybe go even further and beyond, so long as it's sustainable in processes. Yep, that's what I got around sponsors.